Hey guys, BBI here. I want to stop and say thanks for tuning in and checking out whatever the video is about that's about ready to come up next. If you could take a minute and hit subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you enjoy what you've seen here, make sure to hit the like button. We'd greatly appreciate your support. Anyhow, guys, all that aside, let's get on with the show. Gentlemen, we're here today. Guess what? We have, as AVG would put it, on the healing bench, yet again, another Texas Star Sweet 16. This Sweet 16 is dirty, and it's seen better days, but I have the feeling, based on this stuff in the back and the big oversized Anderson, not Anderson, but Heiko connectors on the back, somebody's already been inside this. They've been inside you. Okay. I don't understand what the hello fat boy means, but I'm a fat bastard, but maybe I got one that was supposed to go over to charge your eye. I don't know. Who knows? Piss on it. Hello fat boy, please replace wires on the back to thicker gauge. Attach the Anderson connectors. A pill is popped. Also adjust the input and output tune. Fans are not hooked up. Please hook up, thank you. Partridge in a pear tree. Suck the snot out of her nose. Come on. It's what we got to do. In the land of coronavirus, you got to get right in there and get on it. Just saying. Okay. Let's open it up and let's see what we got going on the inside. I can't walk away that quick. Once again, gentlemen, we have the crimp by power of hammer. Now, this could be confused with the crimp by power of vise. So we put it in a vise and tighten it down. No. Same thing going on here. Although power wire is, significant enough to actually pull off the amp load, the connection sucks balls, licks dingles, is a taint not good. Okay. So this is how we're going to fix this little small problem. You ready? Problem solved. Problem solved. Although I do believe the number of strands of wire that we're going to find on the inside of this thing is going to be approximately 4. And they're going to be of adequate gauge to carry the current. Let's go find out what's on the inside. You, me, together. It's just you and me. Hand in hand. And away we go. I just don't have any words. I don't understand what's going on here. Neither one of us, you or me, neither one of us know what's going on here. I opened up this box, and it's been here for almost 2 years now, waiting for me to work on it. And he said that this came from another repair shop who went out of business, and they returned his amplifier to him. They sent him back this. And initially he asked me if I'd be willing to repair it. I said, oh, if it come from them, yeah, we'll be able to get her squared away. So it showed up over here, and it's been sitting here with the lid on it until today. I opened the lid up and I went, well, okay. He's like, I just wanted you to turn into an 8-pill, all Class C. I went, okay, I understand and hear you, what you're having to say. And it's going to be a lot more work than what you think. He goes, well, what do you mean? I'm like, did you look inside this thing before you sent it to me? Well, yeah, all the transistors are there, right? And I'm like, yeah. It's missing everything. Here's my relay. I don't know if this works or not. Here's a bag of metal clad 1200 puff. Here's a bag of metal clad 1500 puff. Here are some combiners. And here's all the other supposedly miscellaneous parts. Now, we're missing some parts like our combiner setup, which sits here for the output, our first stage combiner, and our other first stage combiner. They're missing. Well, I intermixed with this shit. I've got this and this, which is technically what I need. Kind of. The boards are kind of close. It would be easier to snatch the transistors out of here and just build him something completely different. It would be a lot less work. And he says to me, well, there was nothing else wrong with it. I just wanted it to be converted for 11 meters, and I wanted it to just run Class C. Well, this thing's too old to have the 10 meter conversion board in it. I just don't understand. Why would we tear this all the way apart like this? It doesn't make any sense. And then he was shocked when I said, well, this is going to be several $100s to put this back together before I can even determine what. Let's identify what we have here for parts. Well, this combiner has seen better days. The resistor's completely chooged. Final stage is still in one piece. That combiner is completely burned up, roached. There's our flybacks that we're missing. For fans. Okay. A piece of Teflon tubing. Relay, and a doorknob of 75 puff value. There's 1,000 puff metal clad intermixed with some 1,000 or 1,500 puff. And these would be 1,200 puff for the input. I can do this. It's just missing a lot of damn parts. All the wiring. Got to redo all the wiring in it. I just don't understand. But this is our bias wire from here to here, I bet you. No, that's our input wire. That's our bias lead. That was our bias lead. I just hate to get all the work done on this and then get in here and find out that some of these transistors are popped. Because this isn't adding up to me. These 10 ohms are incredibly too large. This won't work. This is unsafe. This won't work. These are too big. I used to do this in the beginning before I knew anything. I don't do it now because it's not safe. What happens is if this transistor goes bad, this resistor is designed to quit, burn up, fail. Lift this resonance and knock this all out of tune. Well, with this big of a resistor, it puts unduly pressure on this transistor on the other side and increases our probability of having shit burn up by like 1,000-fold. It wants this class C. Interesting. Okay, I know what I got to do now. I just don't understand why this had to get so cut up. This doesn't make any sense to me. But we're going to deal with what we have at hand, and we're going to make this happen, Captain. We're going to try anyhow. I just had an idea here. So I'm sitting here, I'm working on this, and I'm getting this put back together. I got the output combiners all put back in. I got the RF circuitry on this one put back together. Now, both of these amps came from the same shop, kind of in a roundabout fashion. Got the key-in circuit hooked up to run the relay, got the relay back in over here. And I was getting ready to start adding capacitors, like it's missing the 330s up here. And replace our 10 ohms, and we're going to put metal clads on this one. And it just dawned on me that maybe I should do like a crossover video, because the bias circuitry, which I very meticulously took out of this one, I can put back in this one. But the positive wire upgrade that they've done is electrically correct, but I don't like having the positive wires running over the input and output leads. So I'm going to modify this. I'm going to put the bias circuitry that I took out of this one, I'm going to put it in here and restore this. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to take the DEIs out of here. And take the 8 DEIs out of here, and we're going to put HGs in their place. We're going to snatch these old school DEIs out that are never any good. Replace them with HGs. This one's got a fan kit, and this one's going to be for sale. This one's for a customer, but it just dawned on me. I'm like, let's take the parts out of this one, put them in here, and I'm going to do a couple other things. Like I'm going to do an educational video on how to change out transistors with this amp. But this makes perfect sense. This one was cut up, never put back together. This one was cut up, but never worked right. So I figure out why on this one doesn't work right, but we're going to have to reassemble this one. This got non-red dot Toshibas. There's over, what, $1,600 worth of transistors in this box, and there's about $5 worth of transistors in this one. So exact same unit. I don't know what was happening here, and I've give up. I don't care. I'm going to figure that out. Probably never. So you're going to see me hopping back and forth between each amp. We're going to continue on this one here onto this next segment, but then I'm going to hop back and come back to this one, and we'll pull all the wires out of it, and then we'll come back to this one, and we'll do the same power wire. Well, I can't because this cabinet's been so radically modified, but follow along. Here we go. Okay, well, I got to working last night, and I just wanted to get it done. So I'm sorry there's not a ton of video of this thing in its going together stage, but We got all the basic components put together on this thing. Like, first thing we did is we went through and we made sure that our input and output networks were put back. So I made custom boards to hold the input and output networks in their approximate places. I don't understand what the guy was thinking that had this thing before me, why he needed to chop this thing up so bad to make it Class C and to make it work where it needs to work. I mean, the upside is we did get about 30 or 40% of the parts back. But it's okay. I went through and I added the 330 puff capacitors. I changed out the 10 ohmers. I put our chokes in for Class C. Then I went and I rewired our remote interface for remote on for the sideband delay. Reactivated the sideband delay. Even though it is for Class C, depending on how low he wants to run the dead key, the relay might chatter a little bit. So I thought I'd give him the option to have his delay here. That'll help him out a little bit. Then we did a power wire upgrade. I went and I put body plugs in the back panel of the amp. Let's see, are we going to tighten in? We're not going to let us tighten in here. No zoom? Why no zoom? Let's do this. There we go. Put new all body plugs back in the back end of this thing. Straightened this out as best I could. This was all cattywampus and bent to holy hell. We're putting this much energy into it for couple different reasons. One, the guy that sent this thing to me, he sent this to me well over a year and a half ago and has been insanely patient and kind with me to work on this. And he says, man, at one point he called me and he was so discouraged. He's like, I bought another amplifier and you just keep that one. I was like, no, that's not how this works. I said, I'll fix it when I can get there. What I should have done like 2 years ago is stop taking on work 2 years ago instead of a year ago and let myself get caught up. And that's my fault. So now I'm kind of reaping the whirlwind. Everybody's getting a little frustrated because projects are taking so long, but they're getting done, and they're getting done at a high standard. So, standard Stinger, 4 gauge, which is more than enough to carry enough current for this little tiny 8-pill. We reinstalled the relay, new distribution bus bars. So now, the advantage of doing it like this, our distribution like this. Now there's two things that we got to look at. Our ground distribution, which this is our distribution bus, but this is one solid piece of metal. This is one solid piece of metal here. So we've grounded to the heatsink from here. So this is basically bolted to the heatsink. Now peppered throughout the amp, all around is ground attachments, all throughout, okay? So all we're doing after we have achieved this kind of electrical connection is we're going to complement it. So we've got a committed ground off of our distribution bus to each one of the boards, and then in between that we've added a jumper. And this is what allows us to get the ground current more efficiently to each one of the transistors. So we added this jumper here. There's another jumper down in here that you guys can't see that well, but it's there. But the upside to doing this is the positive side. If we look at that, you'll see that roughly, the electrical distances between each one of the input or output transformers is the same back to the source. Now this board's actually canted in, which gives us about 1/4 of an inch of clearance here away from the cabinet, so we don't ever have to worry about this moving and smacking into the lid and causing a short. But this electrical distance in the distribution is roughly even. So now we're going to jump over to one that came out of the same shop, but this one somehow was completed. Let's go look at this. This is technically correct as far as the distribution wires go. And technically this is, well, this is 12 gauge with like 8 gauge jacket on it. It's really thick, heavy duty wire with little tiny strands on the inside. If we were to take and straighten all of this out, so take the wires and bring them up straight away from the cabinet, you would find that the wire that's down here is drastically shorter than the wire length that goes to this device. And the same thing on the ground. Now, it would have been different if we would have taken this same ground lead and brought it back over here. But I remember we're talking, this is a mono ground cabinet. We're using the heatsink to do most of the work to distribute the current load. So what dictates our actual ground, or our electrical potential, is this. Now, the other thing that I don't like is that this is laying right on our input and output coax connectors. And I mean physically is laying on the input and output coax connectors. And then sitting directly against our final stage combiner is a fully conductive ferrite bead. That is touching this. These are touching right here. And then we're holding all that in place with the zip ties. So it's all forced to be right here. That's going to cause problems. That's some of the stuff I've got to rework on this next box. So don't be surprised if this amplifier ends up looking a little bit more like this amplifier. This thing was a complete bag of dicks. This one we got to go through and I got to change 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more transistors in it. Last night I used this amplifier as my example on the tips and tricks video on how to change your own transistors. So this one's technically done. I have not tested this yet. I'm going to set this one aside for this afternoon. I'm going to focus my attention on this one. We're going to pull all these power wires out. We're going to clean up this mess here. And we're going to put bias back in this so it can be fully used on sideband. This one's going to stay Class C. That's what the guy wanted. And so as we were going, we meticulously took out all the bias circuitry out of this amplifier, and we're going to transplant some of it, not all of it. Like the resistors, I'm going to change to 1% tolerance resistors that are all matched for the bias control. Instead of using a diode, they use a resistor, like a 1.2 or a 1.4 ohm resistor, whatever it is, 1.5 ohm. We're going to clean this up, and yeah, let's go over here and work. We're going to pull all this out, redo this. We're going to go to a 4 gauge style of connection just like this. We're going to get our power distribution away from our RF source. We're going to try and split that and bring that over here. And just clean it up, make it ready to go. I shall return, gentlemen. I shall return. Okay, so these are our 8 DEI transistors that came out of this amplifier. I can't believe they called this a $25 Amazon transistor checker, this Atlas DCA 75 Pro. It's a little bit more money than that, partner. Hate to break it to you. Atlas thinks pretty high of their equipment. So this one's got a gain of 5. 5. A gain of 5. A gain of 4. 4. They're so low that my Seco tester wouldn't even detect them. They were showing shorted. We all know that anything below 9, we're starting to circle the drain of life. 4 and 5. This is the transistor that caused our failure. It broke. So, yeah. These were testing on the Seco tester at less than 1. Anything above 0 and the light would go out. So we'll see what this meter's here. A 4. Which is absurdly low. I should break out my Tektronix curve trace machine that I have. 4. I couldn't put these back in anything if I wanted to. That's absurd. Five. Oh, that's cute. Okay. So we're going to see that these test absurdly low all the way across the board. It's all right. 3. It's better than the DEIs that hang on the wall that I bought from now the bankrupt X-Force or out of business X-Force that have a testing of 0. On this checker, it shows it as a 0 or 1. Those transistors. Straight up bad, right out of the box. Yeah, these things are switching so low that they can barely light a neon bulb. Look at this. I don't know how well the camera is going to pick this up, but zero off. That's at 4. These are very basic transistor checkers. Believe me when I tell you, I have much more higher quality, big dollar transistor checkers. I know I brought them out on camera several times. I actually got a video out there floating around of me showing my transistor collection, my transistor checker collection. But this is more than valid data. So we grabbed up another one. Oh, look at that. Oh. According to this one, I got a gain of 9. Woo! These are garbage. These are just all garbage transistors. We'll never be able to do anything with them. Throw that one in the change-out bag for the end of your video. So, the moral of the story is, we went ahead and we did this. Looks a little different than the last time we've seen it. It's got all brand new HG transistors in it. All the balance resistors have been repaired or replaced. It's now got sideband bias added to it. The Class C shorting chokes have been removed. So it's back to being Class B. Not AB1. I guess if we ran the amplifier in FM, we could probably achieve the state of AB1. Back to Class B. Our fans have been modified so that when we turn the amp on, it turns the fan kit on. Cleaned up a bunch of stuff. Added a few little jumpers where they needed to be added, so we can actually have our bias circuitry work. Took the ferrite rods that were in the other amp and put them in this one. Look at me. Look at me leaving little pieces of Teflon jacket in here. The spit's not very sticky today. There it goes. Okay. We leak checked all of our capacitors. We load tested each one of our resistors. They're all up to snuff. The little tiny resistors that set our actual level of bias, we replaced those with 1%. And we got rid of... Did I already throw them away? No. Got rid of these guys completely. So, like this was one of our combiner splitters. Here's another one. Kind of roached out, so I went ahead and replaced them with new ones. And the last thing I want to check is the output tuning capacitor, which should be 25 to 27 puff. And solder that down. And then we're going to go ahead and start punching holes in this to do our power distribution. So we're like this much closer to being done. We'll be back. This never happens. Good morning, by the way, guys. Stayed up late working on these things, got them all finished. And first thing this morning, I went and hooked this one up. This is my buddy from Hawaii, who's been waiting like a year and a half to get this thing put back together into one piece. And let's not forget where we started. None of this was in here. We had 4 boards with input and output transformers and transistors, and that was it. And fly back, and that was it. So I hooked it up. First thing I noticed was my input tune was horrible, and my pass-through tune was deplorable. And I was like, okay. Started looking at it, and I forgot to hook up DISM wire. Remember, there was nothing in here. All the wires that you see in here, I added. This wire right here comes off your input coax connector and runs across and goes down and hooks up to this trace, which then goes to this disc capacitor, which in turn charges the relay, or the transistor, which runs your primary keying relay. This is your secondary relay. This is the one that does the bias and does the drive for this relay. Anyhow, I forgot to add that wire and everything went away. So then I went and I ran it, and then with my little Fleer-majobby, I could see that this final combiner was getting a little bit warm. So I come in and look at this resistor, and it's getting a little bit warm. So I started looking around, and my metal stack, 1500s that are on the input here, when I soldered to the tab to tie these together, like here, this one here, or this one here, this would even be a better example, I didn't solder all the tabs together. That was it. This amp works perfectly. So, amp is off at the moment. 1000 watt slug and peak, 1000 in average, right? Hello, there's our drive. Now let's come around and pan up over here. It's a 5 watt slug and reverse. Hello. Nothing is pass-through input or pass-through reflect now. Able to talk perfectly smooth through the box. Perfectly smooth through the box. So let's check this out. We'll turn the amp on. And yes, the LEDs actually work, which is shocking. Here's with 1 watt carrier. We're latched up. Making 850, almost 900 watts with 20 watts of drive on 14 volts. Here's the other fun bit. Let's come look at our input tune again. Dropping perfectly into resonance. This is what we're looking for. This is making me have a good day so far. Okay, so we're going to take this out of the equation. We're going to take 2950 out of the equation, and we're going to hook up the striker. We're going to hook up our striker 490, which should just about max this amp out. It's just enough to make it wake up and be mean, but not enough to make it wake up and be ugly and burn up. So we'll turn off the Sweet 16, shut off the 2950, turn on the 490. Okay, here we go. Hello. Let's zoom in on this again. Hello. There's our whole 20 and 120 watts worth of drive. Goodbye. Hello. We're burying that puppy in the corner. So zoom on in here on the meter. And we're going to take this, let's see, up to 2x. Now guys, remember, you got to do a little bit of math in our brain bags. That's 1,000 watts. There's 2,000. Okay? So let's see what we got. Hello. 1,200 watts. Beautiful stuff. Hello. Hello. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's see where we're at. You see any imbalance? Don't see any heating there, no heating there, no heating there. That's a beautiful thing. All right, I'm gonna keep playing with it. We'll be right back. You usually got a twiddly dink with something, but God, even the sideband delay is working. Okay, so after playing with the input tune just a little bit more, check this out. This is with only about 120 watts worth of peak drive. 2x. Hello. 14 and some change. Done. This amplifier is done. I'm excited. My little buddy in Hawaii is going to be perfectly happy. He hits this with a little modulator doing 100, 150 watts, so you get a 1,600 watts of power out of it. No problems at all. Now, because this thing is converted Class C, and all of the little pesky capacitors in here that are normally like 16 volts, you can't put more than 16, 15 volts on a Texas style, it'll explode. That's not the situation with this guy. This is a perfectly voltable amplifier. All them pesky caps have been removed. I wouldn't go anything past about 17 volts, but it is possible to volt this particular Texas Star. Okay, let's pull this one off the healing bench and let's put the other nightmare up here. Makes me happy. Now this is the one that's for sale. This is the one I finished up last night. This is the one we've added all the bias to. No, you guys have seen it. So that's a 1,000 watt slug over there in a corner and peak. And we're on our 2950 once again. I'm going to repeat this last test and we're going to do it with a different amplifier. Hello. Ooh, look at all that drive. Whole whopping 20 watts of drive. Turn the amp on. Hello. Hello. Looks remarkably like the first amplifier, doesn't it? Let's go look at our input tune. Hello, 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 hello. Let's turn the amp off. This is our pass-through tune. Hello, 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 hello. I see fun things are coming. I see fun things are coming. Okay. Hello. Let's give this a once over with the FLIR now. We got a little bit of runtime on it. No problemos. No problems. No problems. Okay. Let's switch over to the 490. Gotta hit the record button, BBI. Okay, so we're still on the 1,000 watt side of things. Hello. Okay. So we're seeing our 120 watts. We're going to take this up to 2x. We're going to turn on our Texas Star. And this amazing thing is going to happen. Hello. Exactly the same amount of watts as we were getting with the last box. This one is in Class B. And it's got HGs in it. So take from that what you want. Hello. 1, 2. Hello. Come in. This isn't enough drive to overwork things. It's just enough drive to run the thing up to demonstrate that it is working. What I'm demonstrating is the sideband delay is working. Now, I've talked with the guy that actually owns this thing, and because it's got a full fan kit on it and it's been completely gone through, and it's got all brand new transistors in it, we're going to need probably about $900 for this one, but it is for sale, and it does come with a full fan kit, which now I get to hook up and test. I got to make sure the fan kit for this thing is working. The way we have the fan kit set up now, currently at the moment, is the thermocouple is completely bypassed. As soon as you turn the amp on, fans come on, which is really the best way to have it. Honest engine. It's really the best way to have it. So let me grab the fan kit. We're going to do final assembly on this one. I want to clean up the case on the other one, and we'll be back to wrap this puppy up. God, man, I'm so excited this worked. That other one I was worried about. It was El Bago Dicks. Well, it's all back in one piece. Put our little logo on it. I went ahead and I put a label down here on the side for antenna and radio. Even though it's pretty easy to remember, you just think antenna is going to be the closest to the front. Put another label back here on the back that says fan and remote, so you know which plug goes into what. And we're donezo, man. This thing is ready to go. Hello. 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 I'll take 1650 any day of the week. 120 watts worth of drive. This thing is in really good shape. Now it's in really good shape internally. But it's got a full up stock fan kit in it, or on it. 4 rubber feet. And about 4.5, 5 feet worth of number 4 gauge wire coming out the back. Like I said, we're pretty firm at around 900 for this. It'll last forever. Okay, let's go finish up this last one. Let's get this out of here. So, the customer had packed this with white, like masking tape. And the masking tape had been on here for so long that it had deteriorated and stuck completely to the tin and the heat sink and each one of the heat sink fins, and was a big giant fur ball of gross. I got all that cleaned off of here. So, brother man, I apologize for how long it took me to get to this thing. I hope you appreciate what all has had to go on to get this thing brought back to life. I have no idea what he was thinking. I'm talking to my friend that's getting this thing. I have no idea what the gentleman that had this before me was thinking. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever that was going on the inside. But you know me and my belief that it's not my job to say anything negative about anybody ever, any time, ever. If you ever meet somebody that claims I'd say differently, they're lying to you. It's just my job to fix the amplifier. And that's what we did. We went through it top to bottom, forward and back, and set it up exactly the way we wanted it. Right hand side, 2000 watt slug. Hello. 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 Gentlemen, I don't get to be here without all of you guys. I never and never will ever forget the fact that I don't exist without all of you. And I think that gets missed on a lot of builders today. They get themselves way up on some kind of weird high horse. And they're nothing special. None of us are anything special. Our job is to build. Our job is to repair. and to help teach the others around us. It's a lot of long hours being an amplifier repair guy. It's a lot. It's a lot of time on a phone. It's also a lot of time on a phone being a radio tech. And believe me when I tell you that these guys hate on each other. The radio technicians hate on each other. Some of them hate on each other just as bad as the amp builders hate on each other. It's amazing. I just stay out of all of it. I'm friends with everybody. At least I try to be, and I'm not in the business of running anybody down. But this, I mean, it's just been unbelievable. The phone has not stopped ringing all this week. So I appreciate you guys tuning in to check this out. Honest to God, from me to you, thanks. There's so much more cool shit coming. We're not just talking about the SB220 video. I've probably got at least a dozen more things sitting here right now waiting my attention that are just as cool as that and just as cool as this here. This was a fun project to me. This was. I mean, I might whine and piss and carry on and moan and be grumpy and act like I've got something stuck in my ear hole. But this was a fun project. They're all like this. They're all giant bags of dick. But then again, this is the job to which I have signed up for. Big shout out to Excess Power. Big shout out to Siglant. And a big thanks to all of you guys. Gentlemen, my name is BBI. And without a shadow of a doubt, I am the biggest mud duck in Idaho. I say come check us out on www.bbiamps.com, but I don't do anything with the webpage. I don't have enough time to deal with that. Big thanks to all of you guys. We're going to get a little bit sketchy. I've got probably 3 more little things I got to take care of next week, but then I've got customers and clients and friends coming into town, and I got a bunch of stuff happening at the end of this month. So be expecting maybe 1, maybe 2 more videos, and then it's going to get quiet for about a week. Guys, I appreciate y'all hanging in there and tuning in to see what I'm doing over here. And as always, big thanks. See you, gentlemen. Bump bump from the biggest duck in Idaho.